In the vast indifference of the cosmos, destiny rarely announces itself with a fanfare. Usually it arrives quietly, sliding into the empty seat across from you, just as you've said something undeniably stupid. In stories like this, much like in the chaos of our own lives, the pivot point of history is often disguised as a casual mistake. The amber glow of Kepler Station's cantina wrapped around the evening's conversations like liquid honey, a warm synthetic haze designed to make a dozen different species forget the cold vacuum just outside the hull. Joran sat nursing a glass of synthetic whiskey, the cheap spirit burning a familiar path down his throat. He had been watching the Valathrian delegation for the better part of an hour. They occupied the prime real estate of the room, terrifying and beautiful. Their hulls scarred by the void, their presence commanding a heavy, respectful silence. At the center was the envoy. Her skin was sapphire, catching the low light in ways that made human lungs forget their rhythm. She moved like liquid mercury given form, encased in fractured armor that seemed to shift and flow like a living thing, whispering of technologies humanity was centuries away from comprehending. "Not me," Joran heard himself say. The words tumbled out, unguarded, a product of too much fatigue and just enough whiskey. Beside him, Marcus, his fellow frayed cabinet perennial bad influence, had been gesturing toward the aliens while spinning exaggerated tales of his own romantic prowess. "I'd probably fall for the dangerous one," Joran continued, blissfully unaware of the sudden drop in atmospheric pressure. "Hell, I'd say yes if she proposed." The universe has a cruel sense of timing. The cantina fell into a pocket of absolute cosmic silence exactly as the words left his mouth. The ambient hum of the station seemed to die, leaving Joran's declaration hanging in the recycled air like a neon accusation. Marcus choked on his drink, a wet, strangled sound. "Did you just—" But Joran wasn't listening. Across the room, obsidian eyes had locked onto him with the mechanical precision of a weapon system acquiring a target. The Valathrian envoy turned, the neural threads in her silver braid pulsing with a soft, rhythmic bioluminescence. When she rose, the movement was fluid, possessing the grace of a creature born in lower gravity. Her delegation remained seated, but their attention sharpened like drawn blades. She crossed the room. The scent of ozone and something floral, utterly alien, preceded her. Every step she took felt like a seismic event in Joran's chest. When she stopped at their table, the details of her features came into terrifying focus. The subtle ridges tracing elegant lines from temple to jaw, the silver pupils dilating independently of human norms. She placed a long-fingered hand on the back of the empty chair. "Then say it now," she said. Her voice carried harmonics that bypassed the ears and resonated directly in the bone. Joran's mouth went dry. The synthetic whiskey turned to ash. She sat, settling into the chair with the deliberate grace of a general choosing ground on a battlefield. "Your friend appears to have forgotten how to breathe," she observed, glancing at Marcus. "Perhaps I should stay. Witnesses are traditional. I believe you call them wingmen." Despite the crushing absurdity of the moment, a laugh bubbled up in Joran's chest. "You know our slang." "I know many things," she replied, her gaze piercing him, "including that you speak before you think and use humor to defend against the incomprehensible." "All true," Joran admitted, feeling the heat rise in his cheeks. "Though usually the incomprehensible things are malfunctioning hyperdrives, not alien envoys taking casual words as formal declarations." "That is, yes, exactly that." She leaned back, the crystalline scales of her armor splitting the amber light into component rainbows. "Tell me, Joran of the freight lanes, do you know what you offered?" "I'm suspecting I don't know anything. Among my people, a proposal is not a request. It is a recognition. We call it Veldurum, the joining of purposes. We do not ask to be chosen. We acknowledge that we have already chosen each other across the spaces between thoughts." The room was so quiet, Joran could hear the hum of the gravity generators. "Is this diplomatic protocol?" The envoy laughed, a sound like silver bells struck by a cold wind. "Do you think I would cross a room for theater? Governments sign treaties. This is something else." Behind her, a warrior with crimson-hued scales leaned in. "Your bodyguard looks concerned," Joran noted. "Cathar is not a bodyguard. She is my Vallani, my choice keeper. She records moments for the collective memory. Right now, she looks like she is recording my obituary. The envoy's eyes softened. Cathar finds humans unpredictable. Yet, here I am. You've been listening to stories about me, Joran realized. I listen to all stories. Your friend Marcus tells 3 versions of the same pirate encounter, each more elaborate. But you speak of falling, of saying yes. Deception creates specific bioelectric patterns. Fear creates others. You, Joran, spoke only truth. She withdrew a small object from her armor, a crystalline device containing miniature stars. She placed it on the table. This is a Vallani. It will hold your decision. The device pulsed, syncing with Joran's heartbeat. He felt it, a subtle, invasive interface reading his neural activity, cataloging his soul. This is insane, Marcus whispered. You can't be considering. Considering what? Joran stared at the pulsing light. The dissolution of everything you think you are, the envoy said quietly. Consciousness grows through contact. Like a caterpillar in metamorphosis, the matter remains, but the configuration becomes something new. And if I refuse? The Vallani flared. Holographic displays materialized, filling the space between them with cascading data streams. The Vallani calculates probability. Your acceptance opens pathways in theoretical space. Your refusal, the hologram shifted to dark, jagged trajectories. Refusal leads to deteriorated trust, she explained, her voice devoid of threat but heavy with fact. Within 2 standard years, there is a 73% probability of armed conflict in the disputed sectors. Marcus looked at the display, then at Joran. The fate of interstellar peace depends on you saying yes to an alien proposal. Individual choices have consequences that extend beyond the individual, she said. You cannot prevent the future, Joran. You can only choose which one you wish to help create. The weight of it settled on him, a cosmic responsibility anchored to a bad joke. The entire cantina watched, history holding its breath. I'm terrified, Joran admitted. As am I, the envoy replied, and the vulnerability in her voice was the most human thing she had done. But remaining forever separate terrifies me more. Marcus cleared his throat. For what it's worth, you've always been terrible at sensible decisions. You fly impossible routes. You turn down corporate commands for this junk heap. Adding accidental interspecies romance to the resume is, honestly, pretty on brand. Joran laughed, a genuine sound that made the Valathrians tilt their heads. He looked at the envoy, then at the Vallani. If I do this, Joran asked, what happens to my crew, my ship? They become the first participants in the Veldurum experiment. Your ship becomes a bridge between worlds. An experimental diplomatic vessel? Marcus grinned. That could be fun. Joran reached out. His hand trembled slightly as he hovered over the warm surface of the device. He felt the first tendrils of alien thought touching the edges of his mind, vast, patient, and terrifyingly deep. Yes, Joran said, the word carrying the weight of stellar collapse. I say yes. The transformation was immediate. The Vallani became a conduit, banding to encompass them both. Joran's awareness stretched, touching star systems he had never seen, understanding logic that existed only in theoretical math. But beneath the cosmic expansion, something beautifully simple remained. 2 beings choosing trust over fear. As his consciousness expanded beyond individual identity, the last thing Joran heard was Marcus's voice, drifting through the amber light. Well, wait, the wingman muttered. This definitely beats another boring freight run.